Hello lovely people. In this video we'll be talking about a very cheap and easy way how you can have a three-way active system in your car. Now this is not going to be like electronics and stuff, but it's just cheap Chinese pods. So if you know, I'm starting a new build in my new Skoda car and I wanted something temporary that I can play with and it would be easy to install. And I found these. So these is Landai U Audio, whatever that is. And these are just cheap plastic pods from AliExpress. Now I paid only £16 for them, so it's like what, $20 or something, and that's including free shipping. And in the box you have these plastic pods, some foam and some plastic things. So when you're installing a three-way active system, you want something that can hold your tweeters, your mid-ranges and mid-bass. So mid-bass usually goes in the door and you need something for the tweeters and mid-ranges. Obviously the best option is custom locations such as dash or custom A-pillars, but if you want something very quick, very dirty, and you don't want to spend a lot of time fabricating stuff or spend a lot of money, these are very good option. So I did pods in the Honda Jazz and we used the aluminium pods from Germany. I think the company is called Velicar or something, but those are bloody expensive. We pay like £200 for the pods and these are £16. So what do you get in the packaging? We have this and this we're going to put in the side because it's identical to the other side. We have a pod for the tweeter, a pod for the mid-range, some metal screws and some of these plastic thingies. I'm going to show you what they're all about. As well, we have some foam and a little drill bit. Now, I'm not going to put a link to this because in AliExpress, the listings constantly change, the sellers constantly change. So if I'm going to put that one next week, it's just not going to be there. So you just have to look for them according to the pictures. Now, I don't know what's inside, but it's in both of these pods. I have no idea what kind of mess is this, but if we're going to ignore that, let's just have a look how it is. So these are probably injected molded, or I don't want to say they're 3D printed because I don't see anything on the outside that would indicate that they're printed. Now they're made out of two sections. One is like the actual pod and one is this one, and it's the same for the tweeter. You can remove it. There's some screws over there, so you can remove this one. And I don't know, if you want, you can 3D print a different baffle for a different speaker. So these will fit 3.5-inch drivers and I think 1.5-inch tweeter. And yes, they're plastic, but the plastic is quite thick, so it is sturdy. It's not thin resonating plastic. There is a hole for the cable to run, but again, we are buying these not for aesthetics, not for them to look good or perform good, but I would say it's just temporary solution to have something in the car. Now we know that these pods will not match with the kicks because kicks will not play up high, and the mid-ranges from these pods are not going to play lower than 250-300 hertz. But again, as a temporary solution, I think these are going to be cool. So these pods, they do come with these things. So these are like plastic tabs. You can flush mount them to a dash, to a pillar, to whatever, and then this pod goes on top just like that. And you can see you can adjust the pod however you want. So if you want it off axis, if you want it more on axis, you can twist it. You can do it like this, like literally however you want, because this has a curvature of this actual pod. So you can put it any way you want and you can adjust it however you want. When you're done adjusting, when you're happy with the angle, you have some holes and you have this little drill bit. You drill a hole and then you fix it with these screws, or you can use some adhesive if you want. And then this one, again, you can fix it with adhesive, or probably you can use some screws as well because there's 3 little holes. But yeah, so you can use this separately, separate mid-range and separate tweeter. The tweeter pod has this indent as well and it fits perfectly with the pod. So again, you can adjust. You can make a snowman if you want, you know, those kicker snowmans. So you just literally fix this pod to this pod and you have it like this, or you can have it maybe the tweeter on axis, the mid-range off axis, whatever you want. Or you can have it totally separately with these little tabs. You can put it anywhere and you can adjust it however you want. Now, in regards to the size, what I have here is one of my favorite mid-ranges, which is One Audio wideband, and this is a 3-inch wideband. So if I'm gonna try to put it inside the pod, I'm gonna put the wire in and try to do it like this. So you can see that this is a little bit too small. The driver is a little bit too small for this pod. However, there's no gaps, so you can potentially make little holes with that drill bit and fix it like this, and you would need to fill in or maybe put a grill on top. But yeah, you can fit 3-inch driver, but this is meant to be for a 3.5-inch. So 3.5 would fit just literally perfect. In regards to the tweeter, I have a few tweeters. So I have these, which is Museway MG62T. I will do a full review of these tweeters. These tweeters are 1.1 inch. So 1.1 inch is a bit too small. You would need a little baffle just to fill in the gap. So 1.1 is too small. And I have slightly bigger ones, which are these. I think these would be 1.5 inch. They just have a bigger flange, so the tweeter itself is like the same size. So these are sent by Frank from Heppa King. These are just Chinese, quite good performing tweeters, to be honest. And these with a bigger flange fit, see, perfect. So there's a little play in there, but they fit much better. So 1.5 inch tweeters, I would imagine, would fit much nicer. Now these are silver, obviously, so probably I'm gonna spray paint them black because I'm not sure which ones I'm gonna use. But yeah, these are the tweeters and these are the mid-ranges, just like that. Now I am planning to play a little bit with these because these pods, even if they're not gonna perform that great, they're very good in finding locations for your mid-ranges because they don't take a lot of space and you can adjust them. You can aim however you want. You can put them wherever you want because they don't take a lot of space. And it's going to be very interesting to see, just to measure my car for the best mid-range location. Now, I do have a different mid-range, which is this one. Museway MG3M. I did feature this mid-range in the mini mid-range shootout, and it came out as a very good mid-range with low distortion, very good performance. The only kind of bad thing is the sensitivity, because this driver has a face plug that is not attached to the cone, and that's why the effective cone area is smaller. So like these are super sensitive and these are not as much. Now why I want to test these two, because what I notice is exactly the same with the Alpine Status that I have the mid-bass and mid-range drivers, especially the mid-bass in the sealed enclosure. Because you have this face plug, there's a little gap, and even if you seal this mid-range, it's not really sealed because the air is escaping through that gap. And I would like to see what is the difference in performance between a fully sealed pod and when you have a mid-range driver with disattached face plug. Is there any difference? And if there is, what kind of difference there is? So it's going to be very interesting to see. So now I think let's jump into the car and just see how they look in the actual car. Okay, so this is my bare stock Skoda with nothing in it. You can see everything is like that. So these, if I'm gonna put these ones, so these flat, yeah? So you can put them on the dash or you can put them on the pillar somehow. You will be able to fit them like that, totally flat. And then we can put this pod on top. So if I'm gonna try to do it with one hand, with no nothing, see? It's totally flat and you can put it anywhere you want. So I can put it as deep as I can into the corner. It will look something like this. And yes, everybody agrees that pods are kind of ugly and they obstruct quite a lot of view. So you could fit them a little bit. Man, it's really impossible to do anything with one hand. But if I have them a bit closer, from driving position like this, they obstruct only this. And yeah, they don't look ugly, but as a temporary solution, I think they're gonna be fine. So the tweeter as well, you can fit it like this, or higher, or even in the sill, like next to it, or like literally a snowman. You can do whatever you want with it. This is a snowman configuration. Yes, it takes a lot of space. However, So I did tune a few cars, and one of them have a pod like this, which obstructed quite a lot of view. And as I mentioned, this is going to be just a temporary solution, at least in my case. But in your case, if you're considering pods, this is going to be a very cheap alternative, because those German pods, they're bloody expensive. Yes, again, they're big, they're ugly, but for £16 just to test out stuff, why not? So in the future videos, we will be testing the frequency response. I'm not going to do it in this one because I don't have an amplifier, I don't have anything, but we will testing on axis, off axis, especially with this tweeter pod. I can put it here, measure a little bit lower, a little bit higher, deeper in there, in the sill, off axis, like literally anywhere you want. You can just stick it with a double-sided sticky tape, temporary, and you can measure the tweeter response from anywhere. So I think it's going to be fun. And that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.